Good morning. It's November 7th. This is To My Liberal Friends. Well, yesterday, Democrats in the Senate rejected a proposal by 3 centrist Democrats to reopen some of the government and get the SNAP program fully funded. Their proposal would have funded military construction, Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch, and the Department of Agriculture. There was also discussion including transportation to resolve the air traffic controller situation. But there was not enough support within the caucus to move the bill forward because national politics overcame common sense. Democrats say they trust John Thune, a Republican leader, but don't trust Trump. They say this because they have made every political campaign about Trump and don't really care about anything else because they see this as the avenue to regaining power. Make every issue national, and they and their base think they can win. Now, how many of you would like to see politics become more local and less national? I've thought about this many times. There is a way to take a step in this direction, but it would take an agreement by both parties and withstand some court challenges. The Supreme Court case Citizens United versus Federal Election Commission in 2010, a landmark decision that lifted restrictions on independent political spending by corporations and unions, stands in the way. The ruling established that this spending is a form of free speech protected by the First Amendment, though it upheld bans on direct contributions to candidates. This decision would significantly change campaign finance, leading to the rise of super PACs and the increase in unlimited independent expenditures. And right now, I would say our political system is broken. Members of Congress spend an inordinate amount of time raising money for their next race. Nightly fundraisers become the norm, and spending time doing what is referred to as dialing for dollars as members make calls to potential donors. And it goes beyond their own elections. Leadership positions and committee assignments are influenced by how much money a member can raise for the party. Raising money has become one of the major tasks of each and every member of Congress. There's something I would suggest a change be made where the money comes from. Right now, every close race for the House and Senate has become a national race, as money just pours in from a lot of sources, much of it from political action committees and some from what's called dark money. Then you have the independent expenditures from groups that pretend they care about a particular race, but in reality only care about who has the majority so they can exert maximum influence. A senator from Wisconsin does not answer to the people of Wisconsin. They're answering to donors from California, New York, and a lot of other places. They answer to them because they'll be relying upon them for money in their next re-election race. The nationalization has produced exactly the dysfunctional Congress we deserve. Members have little incentive to break with party leadership, even when it would serve their constituents. They're afraid of breaking because it would shut off the money supply that they're dependent upon for their own re-election campaigns. Compromise becomes politically toxic when your next primary opponent will be funded by ideological purists from across the country. The old ethic of bringing home the bacon for your district has given way to performing for national audiences and donor networks that will never cast a vote in your election. The problem is not, as I've said, party specific. This infusion of cash into races from large donor is affecting races across the nation. We saw Elon Musk pour over $100 million into a Wisconsin Supreme Court race despite living in Texas. George Soros can fund district attorney campaigns across the country from his New York base. These aren't Wisconsinites or locals deciding who prosecutes crimes in their communities. They're billionaires treating state and local elections like pieces on a national chessboard. The citizens of these states have become extras in somebody else's political drama. The founders designed a federal system where states retain significant power and local accountability mattered. Our current campaign finance system has effectively abolished that design. When a Senate race in Ohio or Pennsylvania can attract $200 million from out-of-state sources, we're no longer practicing federalism, we're practicing a kind of financial colonialism, where the wealthy few in donor states determine representation everywhere else. The solution's right in front of us. A simple change in election law would totally reform the system. The only people that could donate to a candidate are those who can actually vote for the candidate. That means outside money could not come into a state or congressional district. It would bring politics back to more of a local system. Candidates would spend more time meeting with the people who can vote for them instead of trying to raise money on a nightly basis. So who can donate to a candidate? Not when you own property, not where you have business interests, not where you care deeply about issues, where you are registered to vote, and the place where you're committed to being a citizen and living with the consequences of governance. Think about that for a moment. No more big political action committee checks, no donations by lobbyists, and no more having billionaires pump money into races that only care about keeping control of Congress by one party or another. Members of the House and Senate would be free to spend more time working on issues in Congress and more time meeting and attending to the needs of their constituents. Wouldn't that be a great change? This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.